Morning and welcome to another Monday live, and it's a glorious day here actually, I must say. I've just been playing in the garden with my son, and pleasant it was. A nice week ahead of us as well. We're moving heavily. I think probably this week, if I look at the date, I think it's we are moving into autumn, aren't we? We're on the cusp now, I think the next couple of days. And when we think of autumn, we think of bridge a bit more, I think. So I've been getting a lot of stuff about bridge clubs reopening, etc., which is great news. I know some of you, some are opening in a small way, etc., but there's no doubt that there are a lot of clubs trying to get back, and I think that's a great thing. Even if people get a combination of online stuff and live stuff, I think it's great that we can get back to see each other. At the same time of that, of course, we're launching our real bridge games. So those are a few games where you'll be able to see each other and talk to each other. And those, in fact, the first one is today for members, of course, but it's at 2:30. And then, of course, you have to pay for them. Well, the first three were trials, so free of charge. But and do give me your feedback on your live games and how you feel about them. For the most part, I think a lot of people are sort of going back to normal almost. Yes, there's some clubs that are still have got their regulations quite strict. Others are being a bit more optional about it. And I'm going live soon as well. October the 11th is the first one. That's in Devon. The two bridges. Looking forward to it. With trepidation, I'm quite happy to admit that, but I am looking forward to having a live game, a live event. And then we've obviously got them in October and November, and we've now advertised our Spectrum events up until the end of June. So do have a look at those, whether it's Mallorca or Croatia. Of course, we've got Croatia in May, and also all of the UK events that we're promoting. And we're trying to give you a nice choice there. And then perhaps next year at this time, and when we go into the autumn, we'll have a more sort of traditional look to it, and a few more variety of events. We'll see. Today we are talking about preempts. Remember, we are still in preemptember, and thank you very much for so many hands that I've been sent in. Today's seminar is, in a way, about them. I think it's one of the best ways of exhibiting the ideas is talking about hands that real people have played. So every single hand that's in the seminar today is being sent in by you. They're not necessarily perfect for teaching, but that's the point. We want to talk about real hands. We usually get one every time we play teams on the Wednesday, of course, and those are quite good fun to talk, because we want to see real life. I mean, I try to depict real life in the hands that I choose, as it were, but I know a lot of people complain, but those are the ones that Bernard chose. So we'll see how that goes. We've got our usual hand evaluation, then a bidding quiz, and then I do a short section on the beginners at the end, which you can or may not choose to stay for. So let's have a look. Let's start by looking at our hand evaluation. So here we go. So those of you on Friday would have seen this. And nothing spectacular, but of course, nice shape. And what I sort of wanted you to look at was it's love all the vulnerability. And I want you to think about, if your partner opens one diamond or if your partner opens one heart, what you might choose to do and how you feel about the hand. Okay, and then we'll see how it works on the given hand. Okay, so that's hand evaluation. We'll come back to that after we have looked at our PowerPoint. So as I say, we are talking preempts, and we are trying to focus on them the whole of this month. And I'm hoping you've done a few more, or perhaps chosen not to do one on times when I'm not sure. So today, I'm going to focus on two specific things, and particularly on position and vulnerability. In the seminar that I give, the big seminar on preempting, there's about 6 or 7 different things in this list. I want to focus on position and vulnerability today. And there's good reason for that, because sometimes people miss out the nuances of particularly the position. Okay. So what do I mean by position at the table? Well, I'm talking about the position relative to the dealer. So if you are in first position, you are the dealer. If you're in second position, what I want you to assume is the first person has passed. Okay? And if you're in third position, two people have passed. So the reason I've got this table out, you'll have seen it if you saw the seminar, is to compare the number of opponents or partners that can actually have a decent hand. So if we're in first position, the other three players can all have quite a good hand. However, there are two opponents as against one partner. And when we make a preemptive bid, we're looking to get in the way of someone. 2/3 of the time, 2 out of 3 times, you're going to get in the way of the opponents. So I'm quite happy about this. I'm going to be quite aggressive with my preempt. As soon as one player has passed, so as soon you're in second position, one of your opponents has passed, well, he can't have a good hand, he's already passed. So that now leaves it 1 and 1. What that means is half the time you preempt in second position, you're actually going to make life difficult for your partner rather than the opponents. And that's quite important, so we're going to be constructive here. So actually, I'm still going to preempt, I'm still going to do my normal preempts, but I want to have a decent suit so that my partner can make a good judgment. If he's got a nice hand, maybe, you know, he's 15 points, he's on the borderline of whether he goes for game or not. Excuse me. Then he's more easily able to make a decision if he's second in hand. Third position, you'll have heard me talk about it a lot. Now your partner doesn't have a good hand. So most of the time when you're in third position, the last player is the one with all the strength. Well, let's make it difficult for him. Let's get destructive. Let's get in the way. Okay. Fourth position I don't really deal with because essentially you could pass the board out. So remember, if you're in the fourth position, you've got a preemptive style hand, let's say 10 points, it probably means everybody's got about 10 points. You only want to be bidding a contract if you're going to make it. Because if you choose to pass, you can pass. That's the end of the auction. So you can get a 0 score. So that's very, very different. It would have to be constructive. And it would be unusual to bid at the 3 level. But if you bid at the 3 level, you'd be hoping to make it. And you'd be doing it for a good reason. Maybe you've got short majors, doubletons in both majors, and you're thinking, well, if I bid, they might be able to find us a major suit contract, but I'm pretty sure I might be able to make a contract. So often if you make a preempt in the fourth seat, you're more likely to have slightly more than an opening hand. Okay, so that's my thing. I mean, if you really want to give it an acronym, you can call it ACDC. As you can see, aggressive, constructive, destructive, constructive. And the idea is the constructive ones are, I'm very, precise, and I'm going to have a good suit. If I'm vulnerable second seat, as we're going to see vulnerability, I'm going to be a really good boy. Okay, so in second seat, because half the time I preempt my partner, I'm going to have a specific rule, as you'll see. Third seat, anything goes. It's a free license. I do not mind what you do. But we are going to be talking about that a lot today when we look at the examples that people have sent in, because most of them today are going to be third seat. Next week, I'll look at second seat and other things. So for me, I like this rule. You do not have to play it. It is not written in stone, but I would, if you're in a regular partnership, I would suggest having this. A second seat preempt partner, because half the time I'm going to upset you. Because remember, most of the time, if I've got 14 or 15 points, my partner preempts, I think, oh gosh, not again, as it were. But if I know that he's got 2 of the top 3, I should be able to judge what to do. Or at least judge better. So if he's got 2 of the top 3 and I've got the other one, I know we've got a solid suit. And I then feel empowered to choose what contract we might finish in. Okay, in third seat, I do not mind what you do, partner, because I'm already passed. So if you want to preempt, you're not getting in my way because I've already passed. Okay. The vulnerability, we have seen this table a lot. I'm going to run through it relatively quickly, but of course it's important. I have shown you this in all sorts of seminars because it's fundamental. There's two columns there, their game and how many are we allowed to go down. This is about knowing the scoring system. So Lovell, their game is worth 420. If we're going to assume we get doubled, if we outbid our opponents, and generally when we preempt and we then bid to game, we're doing a sacrifice bid. They double us, we can afford to go 2 down. So looking at the table there, 2 down non-vulnerable doubled is 300, 3 down non-vulnerable doubled is 500. Clearly, if you don't get doubled, you can go, you can go 10 off. No, you can't. Sorry, 8 off. 8 off. So clearly, they need to be doubling us. The next one, if they are vulnerable and we are not, we love that. That's what we call favourable. Their game is 620. We can afford to go 3 off. It doesn't take much. Imagine you've got a solid suit, 7-card suit for the preempt. Well, 4 spades making 7 tricks is 3 off. So we're going to be sacrificing a lot at that kind of vulnerability. The opposite, when we are vulnerable and they are not, well, their game's only worth 420, we can only go 1 off. So whenever we are vulnerable and they are not, most of the contracts we bid, we're aiming to make. So again, when you're preempting, think about that. If you are vulnerable and they are not, you're not preempting to get it to make a save, as it were, because if you go down, even a 2 down could be a disaster, minus 200, and doubled, complete disaster. Game all, the same as Lovell. You can afford to go 2 off, 620 and 500. Okay, it's worth knowing that. If the more you bid, the more you need to know that going down table. Okay, because it is key. And as you'll notice, minus 800 there, which I talk about a lot. At game all, if I go 2 off, 500, I would get a good score if the opponents can make game. If I go 3 off, I don't get a good score. But if I'm trying to get those good scores, sometimes I'm going to go 800. And so I don't mind every so often, as long as it doesn't happen too much. But it should happen every so often. Okay, so favourable vulnerability at the top, unfavourable at the bottom. And just to sum up that element, when I am vulnerable, I tend to want a solid suit. And for that reason, I love my 10s and 9s when I'm vulnerable. Okay, ace jack, small. So ace jack to 7 without any 10s and 9s. Don't mind it non-vulnerable, vulnerable, it's risky. Change it to ace jack 10-9 to 7. I love it. Okay, it makes a big difference. Okay, so I like my inner strength if I'm vulnerable. Okay, particularly if I'm vulnerable and the opponents are not. Okay, because when things break slightly badly, unfortunately when you preempt, sometimes your partner's going to have a void or singleton. Okay, I think we had one of those quite recently. I think it may have been in the teams last week, where there was a preempt, the partner had a void, but it didn't matter because the opener had ace jack 10-9 to 7. Okay, so you were able to draw the trumps. Okay, you lose a couple of trumps, but you were able to draw them quite confidently because of the jack 10-9. So notice that if I'm vulnerable and second in hand, I'm going to want 2 of the top 3 honours and some solidity there as well. So you can see that I'm not going to be opening so much with preempts if I'm second in hand when one opponent has passed and I'm vulnerable. Okay, so let's look at some of the hands that you sent in. Now, I'm not going to tell you who sent them in particularly. What I will tell you is that I'm putting all of the hands south, okay? I'm putting all of the hands south. So some of your hands that if you sent them in, if you're the one who sent them in, they will have been twisted. It's what we call just putting them in the same seat. So we're always going to look at the south hand here. And today we're looking mostly at third in hand preempts because a lot of people have been taking what I've said to mind, which is basically you can do anything you want. And you've seen me do anything I want third in hand, haven't you? A number of times, those of you who watch the teams, I say, look, I'm non-vulnerable, I'm third in hand, my partner's already passed. It's interesting. So here it goes, pass, and it's your bid. Okay. Now the most important thing is there is no right answer to these things. Okay, when you get to third in hand, it's free license. Okay, now what's important here is that if I took the king and queen of spades out of this hand and made them two small ones, I would be having fun on the hand because I know the opponents are going to make a game. You have 10 points. So be very, very careful with hands like this because you do not know your opponents can make a game. Imagine if I gave you the average number of points that North and East would have here. I would say it's probably close to 8 or 9 each. Okay. So bearing that in mind, if your partner's got 8 points on average, you can't be sure they're making a game. So if I took the king and queen of spades and made them too small, do you know, I might even contemplate a 5 diamond bid or a 4 diamond bid. With the king and queen in your hand, you've got to be a little bit careful because this could be a part score hand. I'm going to bid something. That's the first thing. I do not mind a 1 diamond bid on this hand. I do not mind a 1 diamond bid. Okay, it's aceless, so I'm a little bit worried, but I've got a free license here. I think I'm probably going to bid 3 diamonds or 4 diamonds. I'm going to be honest most of the time. But I hope you can understand that it's weird, but the weaker the hand, so if I take the king and queen of spades away, I've got a 5 count, a miserable 5 count in a way. Partner has shown less than an opening hand. Surely they're going to make a game. At that point, I'm thinking, well, if I bid 4 diamonds or 5 diamonds, are they going to take me far enough down? Are they going to be able to judge? Well, I'm prepared to take a gamble. The stronger the hand is, I'm less sure of what to do. Okay, so I think it's tricky. I think 3 diamonds is fine. 4 diamonds is it's borderline. I don't want to be bidding 5 diamonds on this hand because, and what's interesting is, believe it or not, it turns out, this is very unusual, it turns out West has the weakest hand of the hand of the table. So this is very, very unusual, but you've got to understand it could happen. So North chose to pass. I like that. If I was going to open with the North hand here, I would have actually opened 1 no trump, but I'm not going to. I should say that. I would be passing it, okay, because I think it's just an ordinary hand, just an 11 count. The next hand, just 10 count, with lovely number of 10s, but East passed as well. And amazingly, it turns out that West has the weakest hand at the table, which is crazy. The person who sent it in did explain that a few people did manage to make game. I'm not quite sure how. I think the most likely way of getting to game for North-South, notice, North-South are making game on this hand. To get to the game, you'd open 1 diamond. So, and that's the interesting one. So I think if you opened a diamond, you might reach a game. But of course, the difficulty is I'm not that keen on it because it allows the opponents in. And a lot of the time here, the opponents getting in would have been to your disadvantage. Because if you weren't making game, your opponents probably were. So I'm not keen on a 1 diamond bid, but I think a 1 diamond bid would have worked best on this hand. I notice West's solid heart suit there. But if you bid a diamond, who knows, West might choose to show a 2 suitor of some sort. I don't know, I wouldn't do, but and the opponents, I think it said on the, this was sent in from a duplicate, it said that the book, you know, the correct contract eventually is something like 5 clubs going 2 off or something like that. And a few people did finish in game. I'm not sure how they finished in 5 diamonds, but it turns out 4 spades is going to get you the top score, but I mean, that seems a crazy contract. But everything breaks and it's, you know, the diamonds come in, so why not? Clearly, you know, the only 2 tricks the opponents can make are 2 aces. So really difficult. So, I mean, the point is that what I'm going to do is tell you what I'm going to do in these situations. And the beautiful thing is with preempts is sometimes what we do goes wrong. You've seen a few entertaining hands, I think, in the teams where I have done some exotic things. They haven't always gone right. So 3rd in hand, South can do anything he wants. But remember, the stronger your hand, the less you know about it. So with 10 points here, you don't know the opponents can make game. Okay, because your partner could, on average, your partner's going to have 8 points. I'd say 8 or 9 points. So you're missing 30. We know there's less than 11. Someone can do the maths, but I would have said it's about 8. In which case, it's a part score hand. So you do not want to be doing your 5 diamond bids in. So that's crucial. The weaker you are, I don't mind, because now, different manner. Let's look at another one. Okay, this was sent in again. Again, I remember sometimes I've moved the hands around. This time it's east, west, vulnerable. Once again, the bidding goes pass, pass. You are playing. I'm going to give you some options here. You do have the option of a weak 2 diamonds as well as a weak 3 diamonds and 4 diamonds, etc. So just giving you that option. The people who had this hand did have the option of opening a weak 2 in diamonds. So it goes pass, pass, and it's your bid. Someone's asking, is 10 points too strong for a 3 diamond preempt? Well, remember, in third seat, you're allowed to do anything you want. So in theory, you can open it. And it was a pretty ropey 10 points, the last one with the singleton jack. So I'd be quite happy. But generally it's 5 to 9 points. But remember, third in hand, you're allowed to do anything. So Imagine I was doing this on someone said what I would do here. So imagine I was on a Wednesday night. If I picked up this hand, I would make an opening bid. Okay. But for me, this hand is much too powerful to want to preempt with. Third in hand, you have a free license. So for me, I would open this hand 1 diamond. And the reason I'm opening 1 diamond is to say, partner, I want a diamond lead. Okay, so I would choose to open a diamond, but I'm not going to open a preempt because I've got a decent hand. I've got 2 10s in there. I've got solid suits. I don't think it's going to make my partner's life easy remember, if you do open a preempt, your partner, you are inviting your partner to sacrifice. Look at the vulnerability again, east, west, vulnerable. So if you open a preempt of any sort, whether it's 2 diamonds or 3 diamonds, you are inviting your partner to bid on. So when I will sometimes preempt with shorter suits in third hand. You're allowed to do that. I mean, I'd prefer you to have 6, but sometimes I've told people I've done it on 5, but I'd have some distribution with it. Here it's a flat hand. It's a decent hand, and against a 3 no trump contract, if your partner leads diamonds, you might be hopeful of getting it down. So for me, I'm not going to make a preempt. Okay, I wouldn't want to bid 1 no trump on weak hands in this situation. It just goes 1 no trump double. Okay, you get yourself into trouble. Why am I opening 1 diamond? I'm bidding a diamond because it shouldn't get me into trouble. I don't have to carry on bidding. Remember, if my partner bids 1 heart or 1 spade, I can pass. Because partner's a passed hand, partner's response is suddenly non-forcing. You don't have to. Well, please understand, pass is the normal bid here. Okay, but most experts would choose to bid a diamond here because it's not going to cause much trouble for them, and it makes sure the side gets the best lead, because surely a diamond lead looks best with this hand. Okay. So let's look at this one, and amazingly again we've got an unusual situation. So third in hand, usually West has all the strength. I don't quite know why, but the hands that I've been sent in happen to have the situation where, interestingly, the West hand isn't as strong as we're expecting. Okay, so here, as you can see, it turns out that West has just 10 points. And it's a dead level where it's 19-21, the hands. My diamond bid is saying partner lead a diamond. Okay, at the table, I suppose it would probably go a diamond double. I think a lot of people might double on the West hand though, I think. You know, although you probably should be stronger, but I think with 2 passes, you're not going to get into too much trouble. So I think it might go a diamond double. Probably redouble from north. Pass. I don't know actually, but we might finish in a no trump, but we're not going to get into too trouble at the table. 2 diamonds didn't work out so well. They opened 2 diamonds, and I think that went off. But as I say, I only like to preempt in this. I love bidding aggressively at this vulnerability when I'm not, but I want to have a hand that's telling me to bid aggressively, if that makes sense. I want to have a hand that says to me, I want to preempt. And this hand, with such a flat hand, I wouldn't. So I don't mind if you pass, okay? I don't mind if you pass, completely normal to pass, I should say, but I like a diamond bid because it allows you to just get the best lead at the start. Turns out you might be on lead in the end, but I think it's a good bid. And remember, redouble denies 4 or more diamonds. Okay, generally the wee double says, partner, I'm strong. Okay. Okay, the wee double says, partner, I'm 9 or more points. In fact, here it would show 9 to 11 because you're passed hand. So it's pretty specific. It says, partner, I've actually got a decent passed hand. One no trump by either way is going to be interesting. You know, I think you've got chances in one no trump both ways. So north-south might be able to make one no trump, and east-west might be able to make one no trump. It's quite interesting. It depends how the defence goes. Because the spades work, you could make 7 easy black suit tricks east-west. As defence, though, it might be less easy to do that. I don't know. You might get it right. So maybe east-west will generally make 7 tricks. So again, it's an interesting one. What do you do? Let's look at another one. Here's a third in hand bid again. So this is what I've been sending. So as I say, thank you for sending them in. They are interesting. So this one again goes pass, and it's your bid now. And what's interesting about all of these hands is not what I've mentioned today, but it's what I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. And it's what I call defensive values. It's really tricky on hands because one of the things you've got to understand is if you open 3 clubs on this hand, you must understand that that's not necessarily where the auction's going to finish. At this vulnerability, you've got your opponents are vulnerable, you're not. You are suggesting to your partner that you might want to play in 5 clubs. Okay, so, and you could have a couple of defensive tricks here. That's my worry. The King of Hearts is a dangerous card to hold when you're preempting. I'm going to be honest, I am going to open 3 clubs with this hand because I think there's a chance of them having a big major fit and I like it. I'm going to be honest, I think 3 clubs is reasonable, but you do have to understand that holding the King of Hearts and the Queen of Diamonds is really a dangerous thing. Okay, so because for me, if I imagine I had the singleton heart, small, and maybe a small diamond as well, that I'm going to open 3 clubs. Believe it or not, with just 2 points in my hand, third in hand, non-vulnerable against vulnerable, I'm opening 3 clubs. Because I know they're in game, and you know, I'm not worried about it. But here with the King of Hearts and the Queen of Diamonds in your hand, I don't actually know they're necessarily going to make a game. Give your partner a bit more than average. So as I say, he's already passed, so you could say his average is 8, but a lot of the time he might have 10 or 11 points, in which case gets tricky. So I don't mind. I mean, I think 3 clubs is relatively normal. I think it's relatively normal. However, we want to see what North should be doing. So South opens 3 clubs. I think West bids 3 diamonds. I think that's normal. What would you bid with the North hand? Well, what's important on this hand is to understand. Someone's saying, how do we know about the King of Hearts? The problem is the King of Hearts will often make a trick. For example, the opponents can't see your hand. If they had Ace Queen in the East hand, they'll take a finesse and your king will make. But from North's point of view, he is not going to be placing you with defensive tricks. Okay, so he will be, North will be thinking, oh, etc. etc. What's important on this hand is, does North think the opponents can make a game? Does North think his opponents can make a game? And in my book, I'm not sure he does. Okay, remember, it doesn't look as though they can make a major, and 5 clubs isn't a sacrifice against 5 diamonds because they can just bid it over it. So even if they can make 5 diamonds, we'd have to bid to 6 clubs to sacrifice it. So for me, I don't think I'm in the business of sacrificing. Okay. However, 4 clubs seems reasonable to compete for the hand. But the key on the hand is you are not interested in sacrificing because actually, I think you could have, remember, partner's allowed to have 1 defensive trick. He shouldn't really have 2. He's allowed to have 1. Well, If he's got one defensive trick, if they're playing in a major, you've got plenty of them. And if they're playing in a minor, you've got 2 aces and your partner might have 1. And it turns out, as you can see, the king of hearts bolsters the queen and you have got a defensive trick. So they can't make a game. So do not, unfortunately at the table, North ended up bidding 5 clubs. And obviously that was not a success. It got doubled, going off when clearly the opponents can't make anything themselves. This is important then. So just because of the vulnerability, I mean, this is why, I mean, a number of people have said to me, oh, I saw the vulnerability and I went for it. But you only need to go for it if you think they can make a game. So get into your mind, whenever your partner preempts, look at your hand and think, do I think the opponents can make a game? So here, imagine you had a small doubleton heart instead of queen 10-9 to 3. Well, then it might go 3 diamonds, 3 hearts from the partner, 4 hearts, and you'll think they can make that game. But here, if they played in 4 hearts or 4 spades, you would be very hopeful of getting the contract down. And if they get to 5 diamonds, not unreasonable to think partner might have a trick for you and they'll go down in that. So I'm not going to be sacrificing. Competing for the hand seems reasonable. I don't think it's going to work out so well here, but I don't think your opponents will double you in it either. Okay, so I don't think you'll get doubled in 4 clubs. How will 4 clubs go? Not a difficult defence, I don't think. They'll take 5 tricks against you, so it'll be 2 off. But I don't think they'll double you. I can't see them doubling you in 4 clubs. So 2 off is okay, I think, because are they going to make 3 diamonds? Are they going to make 3 diamonds? That's a good question. That's interesting, isn't it? Because you sort of need a club ruff on the way. I don't know. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think they will. I think they probably will make 3 diamonds. So 4 clubs going 2 off is fine. Why do I think it will go 2 off? Because I think the opening lead will be the ace king of diamonds, and then a diamond ruff, which allows the king to make. Can you see that? So it goes ace king of diamonds, a 3rd diamond allows the king of clubs to make. Isn't that cute? Okay, so the king of clubs is able to ruff it, and then they lead the king of spades, and they will make 1 spade, 1 heart, 2 diamonds, and that king of clubs. Okay, so they'll take it 2 off. But as I say, 4 clubs minus 2 is okay. 100 is better than 110. It's a funny old game, isn't it? But remember, if they bid on to 4 diamonds, you just leave it. Okay, and 4 diamonds is likely to go off. I think they're likely to go off. You would have thought so. I mean, they don't have to go off, but I mean, it's not obvious to take a diamond finesse given the bidding. Okay. So again, 3rd in hand, you can do anything. And one of the things I want to explain is that generally, if what you do at the table works, well then, who am I to argue? Okay, so if what you do at the table works, who am I to argue? Okay, so at one table, if you open something will happen and it will be good for you. At another table, you do it and something else will happen. So. Okay, so let's look at this one last one then. East, west, vulnerable again. So you are non-vulnerable again. And what do you fancy this time? So you are non-vulnerable against vulnerable. So why I'm putting this up is because you can choose what you do. I don't like the Queen Jack Doubleton. Make the Queen Jack Doubleton club too small. I'm much, much happier. Understand that the Queen Jack of clubs, someone's saying no defence, that Queen Jack of clubs could be worth 2 tricks. Remember, if your partner's got the King of clubs or the Ace of clubs, partner's thinking of that as 1 defensive trick, your Queen and Jack will suddenly make it 2 possibly. So the Queen and Jack is often going to be worth a defensive trick. On this hand, it turns out it's not, as it happens, but that's not for you to know. So I wouldn't want to bid 3 hearts on this one. Because I do really aggressive bids 3rd in hand, and that's what I'd be contemplating a lot. If I took the Queen and Jack of clubs away and made them too small, I might bid 3 hearts, trying to make it as difficult as possible for the opponents. But the Queen Jack of clubs, notice the Jack 10 of spades as well. But I do want to preempt. I think I should get in the way because most of the time here, West is going to have a good hand. And thankfully, finally on one hand, West has got the hand we usually expect when we've had 2 passes before us. So it goes pass, pass, and we choose to bid. If you choose 2 hearts, what would you bid with the west hand there? What would you bid with the west hand? Over 2 hearts here. In fact, to be honest, if it was 2 hearts or 3 hearts, I'm going to bid no trumps. So if it was a 2 heart opener, I'm going to bid 2 no trumps. If it was a 3 heart opener, I'm going to bid 3 no trumps. But that's not easy. Okay, so clearly if they don't bid no trumps, it's a gamble. But if they don't bid no trumps, I don't think they're going to finish in no trumps particularly. Okay, so if you bid 3 diamonds, that's where you'll finish probably. If you bid 2N, is East going to bid 3? I think you might do. Okay, but yeah, 2N, would East bid 3? Ooh, I think so, probably. It's got an ace and a king, an ace in the opponent's suit as well. So notice the play. The play's not easy. Okay, when North leads the Jack of Hearts, okay, when North leads the Jack of Hearts, De Clara has no choice what to do here. Well, sorry, clearly De Clara has a choice. But can you see that if De Clara plays small, De Clara is going 2 down in 3 no trumps. Okay, so if it goes Jack small, it's not difficult for South to work out what's going on. He can put his king on there and think there's no point playing hearts anymore. West must have a stopper. I'm going to switch, and there's only one suit surely to switch to, and that would be the Jack of Spades. So if you ducked the first trick, I think you'll end up losing the first 6 tricks. Okay, so you need to go up with the ace. No point taking a diamond finesse because you're expecting North to have longer diamonds, so you'd play the ace and king of diamonds, and then find good news that the diamonds are running. When you play the diamonds, I think most Norths are probably going to discard a club, and that's probably going to give away the club situation. Okay, notice when you cash the ace of clubs and the queen falls underneath it, if North has not discarded a club, you might place North with the Jack to 5. But I have a feeling North will make the mistake. It doesn't seem like a mistake, but he'll probably discard a few clubs, and you will end up making 11 tricks in 3 no trumps. But that's if you get it right. The point of opening 2 hearts and 3 hearts is it puts the pressure on West. A lot of us will not be comfortable with queen to 3 as a stopper, not unreasonably. Okay, but when it goes 3 hearts, it's going to be very difficult for them to extricate. I mean, even if they have ace opposite the king in hearts, it's going to be very difficult for them to establish that because they won't have the communication, hopefully. So I think over 3 hearts, I'd bid 3 no trumps. Over 2 hearts, I'd bid 2 no trumps. But I think it makes it more difficult. If they had the time to bid, they're probably going to find it easier, I think, to bid to their game. But it's interesting, in some ways, a 3 heart opening, I think, makes it easier for East-West, as long as West, I say, makes the right bid. I think 3 hearts, 3 no trumps is straightforward. But what have we talked about today? What we've talked about is third in hand, anything goes. So you're wondering why I've shown you those hands. Those have been sent in by you, and thank you. And please keep on sending them. I want you to do more preempting here. Work out why you're doing it. You probably are wondering, hold on, what's going on? Bernard keeps saying he's going to bid more when he's got fewer points. Well, when I'm third in hand, if I've got, let's say, 5 or fewer points, I am in a position to know that the opponent's going to make game. So if I've got 5, I suppose it should be 4, but let's say 5. 5, give my partner a maximum of 10 or 11. Surely most of the time, particularly with my distribution, they're going to have a game on. So that means I'm happy to get really aggressive and bid really aggressively, because they're likely to make 600 points if they're vulnerable. Whereas if I'm not sure they're in game, being aggressive is a little bit dubious, because if they can only make 110 and I'm giving 300 away, not so nice. Whereas if I expect them to make a game, then I'm going to go destructive, I think is the term we used, destructive. Okay, so we'll look at some different preempts next week and hopefully have some fun with those. So please do send more in. I know I've got a few more in the inbox that I'll be looking at, and we will see. So let's get back to the hand. and then we'll go to the beginners. I'm a little bit behind now, but fortunately the beginners tip this time is a little bit shorter, so when I get there, so please bear with me, anybody who's tuned in for our little tip on beginners, that's coming in a second. Let's look at this one. This is the Q plus hand, where obviously the hand evaluation. I love 5-5 hands. If my partner opened diamond, I think it's tricky, because 3 diamonds is constructive, and 4 diamonds, you'd have to agree that it's on quite a weak hand. So I would tend often, if it was a diamond bid, if I was playing natural, I'll bid 2 diamonds. If it was, I'm more likely to bid a heart though. So over a diamond, I'm just more likely to bid a heart. Can you see that? And then maybe bid my diamonds later. Okay. Anyway, on this particular hand though, it's a 1 heart bid. So what do you fancy over 1 heart? Well, counting losers, it's an 8 loser hand. I'm sure a number of you did that. But you've got 5 hearts, so that's an extra trump, which I like to add on an extra half for. And I'm going to be honest, some of you will come across this before with me. If I'm non-vulnerable, I've got 5 card support for a major and I've got distribution. I bid game. And the reason I do it is for 2 reasons. 1, I've got 1 defensive trick. They could make a game themselves. 2, I don't think my partner will ever be able to judge whether we can make 4 or 3. So if partner's got a minimum hand and thinks about passing 3, well, we could still make game, because if partner's points are in the right places, make a game. So I tend to get in the way. Notice that once I jump to 4 hearts here, I don't think it's easy for my opponents now. A lot of people aren't so sure what a double means. Some of you might still play it specifically for takeout, but others might not. So let's just open up the hands and see what it turns out on this hand. So your partner's got a normal 1 heart opening. And we bid 4 hearts. What would you bid with the West hand? Okay, not sure. I think if you bid 2 hearts or 3 hearts with the South hand, West simply has to bid something. I think he'll probably double. And they'll find a comfortable 4 spade contract. 4 spades is very easy for East West. I hope you can see that. Even if we do get a rough, they're still going to make a comfortable 4 spades. And I would feel over 2 hearts and 3 hearts, West is probably going to feel I've got to bid over that. Over 4 hearts, it's tricky. With only 3 spades in his hand, a lot of the time you double, your partner ends up bidding 4 spades on just 4 card spade suit, and you're in a silly contract. So particularly as North could be unlimited. Remember, North could be a strong hand. So I think I've got sympathy with passing, and they finish in 4 hearts. And that's the reason we're bidding 4 hearts. Now it turns out we don't make. Unfortunately, we go off in 4 hearts against double dummy defense. I don't think they're necessarily going to find it against. Yeah, it's difficult, but you can take 4 hearts 2 off if you get a diamond rough. But more likely they'll take the ace king of spades. You know, I think it's more likely to go ace king of spades, ace king of diamonds probably, and it will go 1 off. But 4 hearts minus 1 is a result, because as you can see, they can make 4 spades. Non-vulnerable, 5 card support for the major. I'm just going to go for it, bid 4 hearts. Now, it won't always work. Partner can have balanced hands, but if your partner's got, bear in mind, if your partner's got a balanced hand with 15 to 19 points, well, over 3 hearts, partner's going to bid 4 hearts anyway. So I don't think you're getting to a different contract, whatever partner's got. You know, if partner's minimum, he'll pass 4 hearts, but if partner's minimum, no surprise, they can make a game. And this is the point here. When partner's got a minimum hand, they're making game. Okay, let me show you the bidding quiz, and then I will go on to the things, because I've overrun a little here. I can't even find it on my thing. My eyesight's going. So let's nip over to the bidding quiz. Remember, you can get the answer to this on the site, whether you're a member or not. Goes 1 heart from your opponent, you double for takeout. 1 heart, double for takeout. 4 hearts from North. Pass, pass. And it's your bid. So 1 heart, double for takeout, 4 hearts from North. Pass, pass, and it's your bid again. Okay, so have some fun with that one. Next week, on Friday this week, I've still got a broadcast, but I am away. I'm at a funeral, so I've pre-recorded that. That is on supporting competition. So it's supporting, talking about Jackie being away, but still thinking about what happens when the opponents get in the way. Our prize winner this week is Jenny Wisby. And because a few people can't make it, I've still got the ace and the 3 of spades. So Jenny Wisby, well done to you. Let's have a look. And you've got the ace of spades. So Jenny, you've got the chance to play with me for next week. So that's next Wednesday. So congratulations, Jenny. And I'll need to get another player because we're slightly short. So the next week's winner, I will send an email before I even announce them as a winner. So there you go. Okay, so have some fun this week. Don't forget, plenty going on. We've got Wheelbridge starting up, BBO games obviously, and our mixed set hands. We're still preempting, so send those in. But for now, I'm going to nip over and just look at one more finesse. So, as I've explained, we're doing a little beginner's stuff at the end. We've looked at two finesses already on this hand. We've already seen a club finesse. We managed to make all 4 club tricks, even though we're missing the king. We also looked at a diamond finesse, and we managed to make 3 diamond tricks, even though we were missing the king. Now I want to look at the heart suit. So we've seen us making clubs and diamonds, and we're talking about finessing. Let's look at the heart suit. So you're missing the queen. So slightly different. The other 2 were missing the king. Here you're missing the queen. Now, if you play the ace and the king, I suppose the queen might die. But it's not likely. You've only got 6 cards. There's a lot of other hearts out there. I think if you play the ace and king, the queen is going to win the 3rd round most of the time. So is there a chance we've got? Well, hopefully, if we lead towards the cards that surround the queen. So I'm going to take the king on the 1st round. So let's do that. So I take the king. That's always going to win. Nobody can beat that. When I lead back, the queen might be between the ace and jack. So what are we hoping for? Imagine South has the queen. If South plays the queen, we'll kill it. If South plays low, we are hoping that South has the queen. Because now when we play the jack, North won't be able to play the queen if South's got it. Can you see the idea? So again, it's a 50-50 chance. Okay? Again, it's a 50-50 chance. Oh. So this time it's lost. But that's the whole point of a finesse. Half the time when you take a finesse, it will lose. Can you see that? Okay, and you've got to be prepared to lose. Your ace is still going to win the next one. The finesse has failed, but your ace is still going to win. You haven't lost anything, so don't feel worried. Your ace and king are still going to make a trick. But you were just trying to make a 3rd trick. So going back to the suit, you can see the way the layout of the suit. Can you see it won't work if you do it the other way? If you lead the jack, the queen can kill the jack if you lead it. Your king wins the trick, but you've still only got the ace and king to make a trick. So you've got to try and lead it. What you were hoping for was this. I've just changed them there. Can you see? If you lead the king now, you would make 3 tricks. Whenever we take a finesse, what we're doing is we're hoping that a particular card is in a particular hand. And most finesses are a 50-50 chance. Okay? And you've got to be prepared to lose it. You've heard me mention lose trickophobia before. This is the fear of losing tricks. Okay, we are trying to get over that. Taking finesses is fundamental. When we look at that full layout there of the hand, you're probably wondering, why have we spent 3 weeks of the last month or so talking about finesses? It's because they'll come up on almost every hand you play. Here, 3 of them are present. You'll have 1, 2, 3 on most hands. So you have to get to understand how the finesse works. It is fundamental to declare a play. You have to keep banging, banging, banging until you get it. Of course, hopefully most of our regular players are used to it, but there's all sorts of finesses, and believe me, once you think you've mastered it, I'll show you another one, as it were. Okay, so there are lots of different types. These are perhaps the finesses in their basic form, but they're fundamental. As you saw, we made 4 club tricks on it by playing the clubs in the right way, leading up towards the 10, crossing over, leading up to the jack, crossing over, leading up to the queen. In diamonds, we led the queen, and if the king covered it, the ace killed it. We made 3 tricks, 3 diamonds, 4 clubs. We tried to make 3 hearts, but unfortunately, not all finesses make. And that's why I wanted to show you the finesse losing, because you've got to understand that 50% of the time the finesse won't make. But what we're saying to ourselves is, if the finesse works, we make extra tricks. If it doesn't, we're not losing anything. If you look at the club suit, if I lead the 2 to the 10, South might win the trick with the king. I've lost a trick, but I'll make the ace, queen, jack. But I've not lost anything, because if I had played a club to the ace, surely South would have played a small one, and I'd have to lose to the king anyway. Can you see the idea? Okay. So finesses are fundamental to declare or play bridge, and you have to keep pounding at it. Okay. Hopefully, I remember it was my father who told me about the way he'd learnt the finesse. He just didn't get it, and then suddenly he got it. And once you get it, it's there. Okay, and that's a lot of declare play and a lot of defences like that. Takes time to get it, but hopefully once you get it, you become that level higher at card play. Remember, this isn't just bridge. What are the other games you choose to play? Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. That's just a little starter. I mentioned the charity page we've got. We've got one live game on there, thankfully now, so you can have a look at that. So you can see that whether you're a member or a non-member, and hopefully we'll get a few more. So if you've got any charity events you want to promote, please do send them in. We would love to promote those. So put them, and we can put them on our charity page. And don't forget, of course, our holidays as well. Okay, everybody welcome on those, lots of them now. So do look at those, whether it's a cruise, a holiday abroad in Mallorca or Croatia, or just an event in the UK. I'm looking forward to getting back to them. So I hope you enjoyed that. See you again soon. Either Wednesday at the teams. I won't see you on Friday, funnily enough, but and then back, of course, next Monday. Preempt 10, but don't forget, do more if you can. Thanks very much for your time, and hope you enjoy the week.